What is up, everybody? Keith Jameson, Go by Gator Guy 231 across the DFS industry. It is Friday. We're previewing Saturday's massive college football main slate starting at noon. This does not cover night. This does not cover Friday night. This is main slate, 12 o'clock, huge slate. Really looking forward to it. I kind of mentioned last week, did not have like a good feel for it. I think I did okay in some GPPs, missed in cash, but really looking forward to this one. We have some big matchups. We've got some conference games, and we have, at this point, a really good sample of what teams are going to be doing. Some played 2, some played 3, but really finally like a good feel for what's going on. And for me, and for those that have watched this for a while, the return of running quarterbacks. We've got a couple that I'm going to be highlighting in good spots that we can target. That has definitely like been over the last 2.5 years of being really successful in college football with the strategy of targeting the running quarterbacks, targeting, high volume running backs. And that seems easy, right? Yet you watch cash games over and over again and people don't employ those methods. So I'm really looking forward to getting back to kind of a standard build that has been successful. Get you here some top picks and here comes the advertising parts, and get you PrizePicks. So let me just do my quick little spiel on PrizePicks and on the YouTube channel. First, for YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. We are almost at 3,000. Please, my college football people out there, my soccer guys, and all those people are helping out hitting the subscribe button. But if you've been watching this for weeks now, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It really does help. All right, for those that love props, if you are not part of PrizePicks yet, stop what you're doing. Do it right now. Promo code FSI, $100 match up to $100. There is no sport at this point that I do not think that PrizePicks isn't covering. And, for NFL, I even saw they had punts last night. There's almost no angle that they will not take to get you, some action and get you really just some fun plays. So let me pull up what I'm going to be looking at here, and then we'll jump into Draftkings. So the two that I am looking at for PrizePicks, I think are going to be a little off the board, but it's kind of my style. So Adrian Martinez, over 184.5 passing yards. He's going up against Oklahoma, more likely than not, and they're a 3-touchdown dog. Nebraska should go down, right? Should go down early, and they're going to have to pass the ball. Adrian Martinez, and it's somebody I'm interested in DFS too, but he is, through the first 2 games, 242, 254 yards through the air. So we're almost getting like a 60 to 70 yard buffer. And now and again, that strategy doesn't even show the game versus Illinois. I don't know why it's not showing that, but he was also over 200 yards there. So I think that it's just like a public number, or I feel like it's a little low, right? And I always try to examine these numbers and go, okay, are the books trying to get me here? And I think it's just because so many people know Adrian Martinez is a runner and Nebraska's struggling, but I just don't see a way he doesn't get over 200 yards for a really soft Oklahoma defense that Tulsa even threw on game week 1. So I think it's a pretty soft number, and I like it a lot. Max Borghi, I think this is a little bit of a different number than people. It's just not something. I'm trying to think the right way to say it. With these books, I think if we can like attack spots that aren't like from the big teams, there's an edge on that. So Max Borghi, for the longest time, has been a running back that I've always known that's more talented receiving than running. Now this year, they've been running him a little bit, right? Still not like 20 carries, but they're getting 10 to 15 carries, not as much through the air, not through the Mike Leach system. And he went 86 and 59 the first 2 games. Well, if you go to USC last week versus Stanford, versus an elite running back at Stanford, he rushed for 13 yards. His backup broke a huge one. I think it was like an 84-yard run and got to 96. But other than that, let me just try to pull it up real quick. I think I still have it up. I don't. I'm not going to look for it and make you guys watch me do it. But USC appears to have a pretty good run defense. USC is always going to recruit really top talent. So I think this is and USC with the new coach bump, or interim coach bump, I should say, I don't know. I just don't think, I think more often than not, I'm looking at Max Borghi under. So I do both of those. We get 3-1. I'm liking it, rolling off with it. All right, let's get into the DFS. I know that is what you're here for, but PrizePicks is cool. I mean, I'll just do one last little PrizePicks plug. Like, this is rushing yards. Look at all the props that you could look through. So, I'm trying to dig through and find edges. You can find your favorite team there. I was trying to, I'll go into more of the Gators stuff here in a minute, but I'm just like very low on the Gators. So, I saw like Emory Jones rushing yards. I want to go under on there, but it just takes one. Pierce, Davis, there are 3 different runners on there. Man, I would just feel like my heart wants me just to go under all the Gator stuff, but that's just like me being a fan, and like that's like somehow making you not lose, right? You go, all right, well, if any of this stuff happens, that means the Gators are playing well, so it's a win-win. I lose a little bit of money, but I gain it in fandom. So anyhow, let's go to the board. There's going to be tons of plays here, and just if you're new to the show, I'm just going to be talking about the plays that I'm really targeting that are making some of my prelim builds. There's going to be so many plays I don't go over. Obviously, Stroud's a fine play. Bryce Young, I think it's a really solid play versus Florida. Rattler, of course, all those are there. But what the guy I'm starting with is Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati. Look, this is going to be a pretty close game versus Indiana. It's a 3-point. Since he's a 3-point favorite away to Indiana. But Ridder, anytime we can get him in close games, the rushing expectation for him is going to shoot way up. Neither of the first 2 games has he had to run the ball. He only had to do 6 attempts for 31, 4 attempts. Who knows how many of those were actually runs versus sacks. But he's also incorporating a nice passing game for once. The hardest part with Ridder for the longest time has been, what you're getting on the ground. You're going to get, 60, 70 yards. What are you going to get through the air? Really good start in the air for him this year with 6 touchdowns. I think that we're going to get a lot more ground activity from him versus Indiana. So at 8,600, I really do like it. De'Ara King is my next guy versus Michigan State, who this is not the Michigan State defense of old, but De'Ara King versus App State last week really showed off that knee is doing good. 19 rushes, 79 yards. De'Ara King also has a lot of arm talent, so he doesn't mind throwing the ball 30 times. So 7,600, he is just like one of my favorite plays on the slate. I hope people overlook it. This is actually a really solid game, even total wise. It's a 56 total. So De'Ara King at 7,600, yes, sign me up. And finally, I don't expect people to like this pick at all, but Adrian Martinez, you just cannot, trying to think the right word, overlook the rushing upside from him. I mean, he's just a stud running the ball. Again, we don't even have this Illinois game where he broke off a 60-yard rushing touchdown too. Broke off a 71-yarder last week versus Buffalo. He's going to throw the ball a little bit. He's not going to throw the ball 35 times. Hell, he could actually, if this game gets out. If Oklahoma's up 14-0 before, before in the first 2 drives, I mean, Adrian Martinez is going to have to air it out. And when he's airing it out too, it's also going to mean that his rushing is going to get in play more too, off of broken plays and scrambles. So 7,300, true dual threat guy. I think it makes a ton of sense. Also, plenty of good plays down there. Those are the 3 I want to highlight. Running back this week is absolutely loaded. And the coolest part is not loaded on like the 9,000 range where it's kind of hard. That $600 to $7,500 range is just like, I want 3. I'm likely playing 3. First guy I want to highlight is Trey Potts. Trey Potts just jumped right into the Mark Ibrahim role. Like it wasn't even anything. 34 for 178. We know Minnesota's passing game is rough and they just want to pound the rock. So Trey Potts, you probably are locking in 25 carries. And we know, especially in the red zone, Minnesota is going to pound it versus Colorado. It's a fine matchup. So I really do like Ibrahim. Oh, I skipped my boy Kyron Williams from Notre Dame. The coolest thing with Kyron this year has just been the receiving. I didn't remember him last year, and I could just be overlooking. I didn't remember him getting this involved in the receiving game. But he has 9 catches through 2 games. Also has 34 carries. I think if anything, he's due to break out in the rushing game. He's a very, very, very good running back. And we just haven't had those big plays yet on the ground. He had a 43-yarder versus Toledo, but like been struggling, in the trenches. So I really do think he's set to break out. It's a solid game versus Purdue, who His defense is not very good. So 7,200 for Kyron Williams. Sign me up. Kenneth Walker, the third, I believe it's Kenneth. Last game, don't pay attention. They got up big. They didn't have to run him. First game versus Northwestern and post game, 23 carries, 264 yards. Walker is a stud. Miami, we saw struggle versus the Alabama run game. This is just potentially going to be a really close game. So I have no problem like playing D'Eriq King with Walker. Like I know what Michigan State wants to do, which is run the ball. And we know what Miami wants to do, which is let D'Eriq King do his thing. So I think it makes for, a fine correlation. Obviously we would prefer Michigan State to get out ahead, right? Where Walker is then running and then King is passing. But I think both teams are going to stick pretty true to their identities there. Ford's fine. Brown's fine. I want to highlight Jashawn Corbin. Look, FSU needs a win, like in the worst way. Corbin is by far their best player. They only got him 15 touches each of the first two games. He blew up in both, right? 89-yard run versus Notre Dame, 109 yards on the ground versus Jacksonville State. You got to feed that guy the rock, man. Like anytime you do turn it on, like Corbin sticks out. Wake Forest is a pretty soft matchup. So I just don't see a way that FSU doesn't go into this game going, we have to get the Corbin the ball 20 plus times to stay competitive. Finally, Clemson did name a split for this game versus Georgia Tech, where Clemson should be out ahead a lot. So you got Shipley at 5,300, Pace at 4,800 if you want to punt. I think works as well. Wide receivers, there are some great options up top and then some great options in the bottom. I'm going to kind of middle it. I think Roberson in that Florida State game is a great option. I was actually really surprised by his price. I thought he'd be like 8,000. Just like looking at the slate. What I like to do when I'm doing this is I like to look at the games before opening DraftKings and just look at the spots and go, okay, I'm really interested in what price this guy is, this guy. And Roberson, I had down like the 7,500 to 8,000 range because I thought he could just absolutely blow up in this matchup. So seeing him at 6,800, huge big play guy, was just dynamite all last season. So I really like him here at 6,800. Garrett Wilson, I don't know why they refuse to price Garrett Wilson up. Huge talent. Ohio State, we've seen throwing the ball a ton. I think despite Ohio State potentially routing in this game, they're still going to want to get Olive and Wilson their touches. Yeah, so 6,400 just stuck out like a sore thumb to me. I would have thought 7,500. He and like Olive together make you choose, but there's just such a huge price discrepancy once again this week that Garrett Wilson's my guy at 6,400. Then finally, let me give you two cheapies down here. Let's see where he's at. Where's JoJo Earl? JoJo Earl from Alabama, hugely electric, kind of showed out last week versus Mercer, 7 catches, 85 yards. He's starting. They have a lot of gadget plays with him. And Saban and the crew have just said they want to get JoJo the ball. He's that electric. You read this RotoWire and they say compare him to Jalen Waddle. I've seen Jalen Waddle. I think I saw somebody say like a Percy Harvin from another site. So yeah, it's 4,500, a game that Alabama, I think Alabama's going to win pretty easily versus Florida. I unless Florida decides to play Jefferson the entire game. Jefferson, I meant Richardson. Like Emory Jones is just going to get, it's just not going to be pretty. Emory Jones can't make quick decisions. He stares down receivers. Like Alabama's going to have a field day with him. So I'm like very anti Emory Jones as the Gators quarterback, as I think the entire fan base is. Finally, though, my guy, don't know why Mario Williams is not getting priced up, but until they do, I'm just going to keep locking him in. He was great for us first week for 3,000, did the 6 for 37 and touchdown. He scored touchdown on 2 straight weeks. Nebraska is a game that, I've kind of talked to a little bit about it, but Oklahoma is going to score here. Mario Williams is playing a lot of slot, just getting a ton of looks. They think he's absolutely electric, was a preseason freshman All-America, 4,100. He makes a lot of stuff work. So I am about that. All right, that'll do it. I hope that these picks help you. If you are interested in more content, my full player pool course for every DraftKings slate, check out the subscription tab in the notes. Jump over to FSI. We'd love to have you as part. If not, comment with any plays that you don't think I touched on. Obviously, I didn't go through the whole board. There's a ton. Any plays you want my opinion on or you think are a great play, please share. Love to have the community all kind of help one another out so we can all win that money. Thank you all for watching. And with that, I'll say See ya.